How's it, everybody? Welcome back to another interview with the Gridiron Bangers. As usual, that's me, Brayden, and it's my honor to introduce JP here, my big in college and big 49ers fan, if you can't tell. One of the bigger fans I know of just football, too. Still hasn't been better than me in fantasy, though, but yeah. How are you doing, JP?
I'm doing good. Not so great now that you just dissed my fantasy track, but there's always next season, so I'll try to try to redeem myself a little bit.
Always got to remind you who's better, so.
Oh, hurts my feelings still.
But yeah, we'll jump right into it. Yeah, as we discussed, we'll just talk about how you became a fan. I mean, any players or any game that kind of brought you to football, made you a 49ers fan.
Yeah, so kind of digging into a little history. I kind of started with more or less my appreciation for the NFL. I know that I was born in '97. I'm 26 years old now. Back probably in around like 2004, 2005. I used to always travel to my uncle's house out in Gilroy, California. And I was born and raised in Santa Rosa, California, so pretty like West Bay, centrally located to like San Francisco. But I played Madden 2002 on the GameCube. And this isn't really kind of where I started becoming like a fan of the 49ers in specific. At that point, I really didn't even know like who the franchises were, who was my team, who was like in my area. But I used to always play the Rams, oddly enough. Kind of funny, kind of disgusting actually. But Steven Jackson back in 2002.
Nice.
That kind of like sparked my love for like the NFL and kind of what the game was. Obviously, Madden being a lot more extremely popular back in the day and still is. But definitely at that time, I obviously started like growing up, like definitely around the age like 10 to 12 range. I want to say I started like actually following like my team specifically. So I'm a West Bay sports fan. I ended up choosing kind of the better options of the litter. So I'm a Giants fan. I'm a 49er fan. I'm a Golden State fan. I'll support the Sharks if I really need to, but honestly, hockey's not my forte. But definitely, probably like my viewership experience definitely got a little bit more serious right before like 2012 Super Bowl run. So when we had the Harbaugh Bowl, is probably when I started really kind of paying attention, doing deep dives on the players and knowing rosters. Obviously, I had the whole reputation of all the Super Bowls that were prior to my birth. We had won, and I've been on a backwards stint since losing two Super Bowls, and we're about to walk up to our third. But I'm head over heels for the 49ers. We've had lots of ups and downs, and obviously we have a historical reputation to uphold. And I'm really looking forward to at least later in my years some trophies, some countings because we still got to beat the Steelers across the metrics for Super Bowl appearances, I think, as well as trophies. We got to at least tie you soon. So
Not
I've
happening.
definitely been a fan for a long time. Been through the roller coasters of the postseason runs and coming up short. So I'm looking forward to this reunion, this rivalry, and this revenge game.
Oh yeah, everyone's waiting for it. But before we jump into that, I guess we'll talk a little bit since I mean it's toward the end of the postseason. But I know you guys kind of had a rough path to the Super Bowl. A lot of close games. Just yeah, some games that some fans didn't believe in midway through. But yeah, talk about how you just feel going into the game. Just how your guys' postseason has kind of gone so far.
Yeah, so it's definitely been a roller coaster. Obviously, this season, in its own sense, we definitely had like kind of our green flags and our red flags. Obviously, starting off 5-0, kind of like sitting on cloud nine for confidence. Felt really good about the people we were playing and the teams we were beating. Going into a quick 3 game slide, right, where Purdy obviously like still kind of grasping his roots as a sophomore. He had his turnovers, and ultimately speaking, I feel like although we had that stint, right, and you kind of know the rest of the tale in terms of how we finished the season. I felt like it was really important for us to kind of get humbled early. Obviously, we know that our roster is like kind of filled with a crap ton of talent. People had expectations on us, and it's better that you kind of let that stint happen early, where you get to learn from it. Versus in contrast, sorry to be an Eagles fan hater, but what you guys did to us in the NFC Championship was disrespectful, and you guys deserve to kind of collapse this season. So, but just in contrast, the playoffs, man. I mean, just walking into the game against the Packers as well as the Lions, like we were kind of heavy favorites. Like, I'm pretty sure the spread, maybe right before open for the Packers, we were projected to win by like 9 points. It was like 8.5 spread. And like walking in, like they were obviously we're top seed playing the lowest seed, and I know that like obviously the Packers have always been a good like team, like kind of historically, obviously, and we've had our playoff matchups in the past, but we'd well, more often than not, kind of overcame them, at least in recent history. And so, like, I definitely slept on them. I slept on them really hard, really hard. And so that game was the first one to kind of like, well, help me come off of my cloud nine for what my team's potential was. And obviously that game never really got too much out of our hands, but we tend to play from ahead, so playing from behind is never a comfortable place for us. Like, obviously, there's many statistics about Shanahan's legacy, talking about whether or not he's able to come back due to his conservative play calling. So that one was a roller coaster, but a lot less so than the Lions, and obviously we ended up cleaning them up. And well, this pitch really sucked. So let's hope that Moody is not complete trash in the Super Bowl. But the Lions was the big one. The Lions really got me down in the dirt. Obviously, like walking into that game, we're less favorites, but favorites nonetheless. And America was behind them, and all the momentum going for them. Their culture has been really, really fucking great under Dan Campbell. He's really turned that organization around. And so, honestly, walking into that game, still had high hopes. I'm obviously very familiar with Jared Goff and kind of what he can put on tape in terms of the playoffs, and felt really confident about our pass rush getting home to him and making him make mistakes. But that game got away from us really quick. Really, really quick. Obviously, 17-point deficit going into halftime. I was basically ready to turn it off and go home, but like I can't do that because it's my team, and I will cry before I fucking walk away. And coming out of the gate, like obviously things really like I would love to hear kind of what that halftime conversation was. I don't think there was any recordings, but we came out swinging and like kind of set the pace, and that whole second half was a contrast the first half in every sense. Like we put up exactly what the Lions did against us in the first half. Like they were not the same team in the second half, and we were not the same team in the second half. So at least going away from the game, I'm really happy about the fact that like I at least have a little bit more reassurance that like his conservative play calling can at least get us back in it. Like those decisions, as long as you're making the right call and eating away at a lead, you can get back into the game, and that's something that we haven't shown before. But I'm definitely obviously walking into the game with the Chiefs, and I'm very level-headed. I don't have any expectations. I want to have my whims and wishes with what I think we could be like strong at. But Patrick Mahomes, man, he's Patty Mahomes. He's Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and it's disgusting what he could do. And obviously, when he soul crushed us in 2020 with 5 minutes left, and we had like 24-7 lead, ended up losing like or no, 17-7 lead or whatever it was, and losing 31-17 was a disaster. So I'll never count him out. I'm looking forward to the maybe roller coaster like journey, but if we could get ahead early and quickly, I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun to put Patrick Mahomes on the spot and make people feel like he's human. We'll see if that's a possibility.
You guys had some great games. I mean, I'm thankful for it. I know it wasn't great for your health, mental health, just having, I mean, against the Packers and the Lions, but I mean, great games. Great to see that your team can come back. I know, like you said, a lot of statistics against it, but you guys proved you guys could be that team that, I mean, doesn't fall apart just because you guys get down, that you guys don't need a lead to win all these games. And I mean, great thing to show in the playoffs. You got to get those kind of scrappy wins. Just great for the morale.
Yeah, tooth and nail. I think like it's really easy for morale to get low when you're down and out, and like you haven't historically proven that you can get back into things. And so I feel like this is the timing is just perfect in terms of walking into the game against the Chiefs where we could get behind, especially with the flow starts we've had in the playoffs. So I think from a baseline, like I don't think guys will get down as quick, and that's so important. So important. I mean, just like when people get down, like their effort's not going to be there. Chase Young, prime example. If you want to watch the clip, I know we talked about this beforehand, but Chase Young, no effort play on that Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown. Feel free to give it a Google. It's disgusting, and we can't have that from our players in these big games.
Yeah. One thing you should never question about a player on a team is their effort. Yeah, I still need to watch that play. I did not see it, so definitely will take a look. Especially, I mean, I thought he was having a decent run with you guys. At least the way he ended the season, he seemed like him and Bosa were going to be kind of a scary duel to try and contain. But yeah, just playoffs. Neither of them have looked the same. I think Bosa, I mean, still good. Not doing Bosa things in my opinion, but yeah, chasing.
He really needs he needs help off the edge, and you could be the best like kind of edge rusher in the game, but unless you're forcing them to the one side, like if you're not making the quarterback get out of his comfort zone, the pass rush is not going to get home as often as you need, and you need pressure for both ends or up the middle. You know, like like what you do based off the pressure is going to control where they go, and where they go is going to open up opportunities. So I really need just maximum effort from a D line. I know we've been known for a D line and our performance, and there's an expectation that needs to get met, especially in this game of all games. And Joe Tooney, for all you Chiefs fans, I think that's a pretty big loss for y'all. And while him with what's his name, Jamal on the outside on the right tackle, I think there could be some windows more so than the 2020 run.
Yeah, their line's looking a little bit like that line that played the Bucks that one year. Slightly
Yep,
improved, but
yep.
Creed Humphrey still
A
there.
little bit more holes, but man, just to put some respect on the Bucks name, that pass rush was something else. They covered the field like widthwise so fucking well, so well. Like just the speed they had, man, as well as just the dominance they had. It's just like you got to put Patrick Mahomes in those positions to not win games when he literally has to just run around and pray.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like you've been talking about, we'll just jump right into it. Big game already. Like you said, you guys have played them before. Not the greatest memories of that game, but I
Poor
mean,
letdown. It was a fine journey the entire time till the end.
yeah, oh yeah, that was a great season for you guys. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you kind of built up for this. I mean, you guys got your rematch. I'm assuming this is kind of the matchup you guys wanted to see. I mean, you don't want to see Mahomes, but I mean, from just narrative standpoint, this is kind of the game that you guys, I feel like 49ers wanted their revenge because, I mean, like you said, you guys were up in the last one. So, how do you think this one's going to be different from the last time you guys played Mahomes? And I know you were rooting for your team, so what do you think your team has or will do differently this time around to hopefully come out with a win and another Super Bowl to add to the franchise? Join the Steelers at 6?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely a difference in the past 3 years between our matchup. Obviously, coming in like Patrick Mahomes, I already been praising him enough, but he has a reputation that he just wins the playoffs. Like he just shows up. So I definitely expect him to obviously come wheeling and dealing. But like if you just take a look back at the 2020 roster, and this is again just my fan perspective, but I definitely thought the Chiefs were better equipped for big play opportunities. So obviously Tyreek Hill and what he did on that team, what he's doing now on the Dolphins, like that player is unmatched in terms of kind of what he offers in the deep end. And just going back to the trauma that was that Super Bowl run, but we lost we lost all the momentum in the world in that game based off of an absurd pass that Patrick Mahomes threw to Tyreek Hill that Tyreek Hill should have never been wide open for. And momentum is everything in these games. Like Lions are the prime example. Like complete different first half, second half, and it really is just how you roll with the punches. And now I truly believe that Marvez Valdez-Scantling, not even a close person to Tyreek Hill and what he can offer to that team. And he's had plenty of chances to have big play potentials, and he's the player that choked. So I know his opportunity is going to be limited. But strictly speaking from our defensive perspective, obviously I don't think the Chiefs have the same caliber offense. I love Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, and Isaiah Pacheco. They're phenomenal players. Obviously, two rookies doing what they're doing in the Super Bowl run is kind of unbelievable in its own sense, but we know Andy Reid's super capable. But I definitely think our defense maybe has a little bit more tools, a little bit more depth, a little bit more across the board kind of pedigree to not have the holes that kind of made us lose that Super Bowl. I know that Steve Wilkes definitely being, I believe, a defensive back focused defensive coordinator has really kind of revamped our approach. We very much used to be front end, back end. Like we would get home with the pass rush, and if the quarterback didn't have time to let a route develop, they were not going to get the ball out, right? And nowadays, like we definitely, our pass rush has declined, which is really unfortunate because our pieces on that line are so good. But realistically speaking, we have really stopped all the big plays that we give up, like in terms of the 40, 50-yard passes. I no longer have like complete paranoia when I see a ball get lobbed up in the air and knowing full well that's going to be PI or a touchdown play. So it could be the wrong methodology, but I do think keeping Patrick Mahomes from having his big play potential, considering he's so good at like buying time and finding those big plays in these key games, I think that could work towards our favor. But Patrick Mahomes, especially with Andy Reid on his side as an offensive guru, can eat you alive within the 10-yard mark, right? So if they control that pace of the game, it's going to be really a tooth and nail grind for us. But in full optimism with our offense being what it is, I love this opportunity we have. We have three really quality starting wide receivers who all play completely different roles with Ayuk, Daniel, and Juwan Jennings. And then Christian McCaffrey has really been the workhorse that like gives a pulse to our team. Like this man is so consistent, and he could give credit to the offensive line for developing these holes, but his vision's unparalleled. He will buy time, and he will tooth and nail this. And he's picking up 4 to 5 to 6 yards of carry, getting 2 touchdowns on like 14, and it contributes so much positive impact to the game. Just wearing out that defense, and that's like how we win games. Is we're very much the Dan Campbell method, but we're trying to take out your kneecaps and then take out the next thing. It really is. It becomes a war of attrition. That's what the Niners have been doing so well for so long. I think that's kind of why we keep on showing up in these playoffs and doing deep runs. But it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a really hard game. I really do think that we have the ability to shut down Pacheco. I love the dude. He runs really physical, but if holes are not going to be there, and we're really tight about it. Like I don't see him getting out the outside too well. He's very much a north and south runner, super aggressive north and south runner. But if we close those holes and they can't set up the run, I don't think Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice is going to be able to carry that team for 250 passing yards. I'm sorry. I don't think it's going to happen. And I expect Purdy to put up 200, and that's all he would really need if we have a 80-yard rushing game from McCaffrey as well as 40 yards from our backup. And this is probably the most healthy we've ever been this season. We've always lost pieces in the past, and Hufanga was obviously a big loss, but it's the next man up mentality, and Jair Brown, being our rookie, has really shown his colors and his capabilities and definitely his potential to be a top performer as well. So it really just will come down to not giving up these big key plays on third down, especially third and long. Dear Lord, that will really kill us. And we gave up those plays against the Packers and Lions both. So I'm a little concerned. But really shutting down Isaiah Pacheco. If they can't get that run game going, I think forcing them to pass the ball against a back-end focused like defensive coordinator is going to be the best thing for us. And I would love if we happen to get the ball first. I know it's kind of fucked up, but I wouldn't mind receiving first and going for that touchdown just to have that early lead to kind of sit on. I know the last time we played in the Super Bowl, we had the lead the entire game until 5 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. So I really would love to see Mahomes in the same position and just us not give up that key third down that gets them back in the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys receive first half. I mean, like you said, you guys just play better in the half, but just playing it better ahead. So it would make sense. And I mean, how else would you want to start a Super Bowl by getting a touchdown on the board and just riding that momentum? But yeah,
it's beautiful in theory, unless you don't get a touchdown, then they score first and they get the ball at the half. But it's high risk, high reward.
Turns into a downslide of emotions after that. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, it's Mahomes. It's gonna be a tough task, but I mean, I think everyone can agree. I mean, you guys have the defense. One of the best defenses in the league. You guys proved it pretty much throughout this whole season, even in the playoffs. You guys had some down performances, but I mean, talent's there. You guys still made the big plays when you needed. So, yeah, should be a great game. Only question, I mean, you guys, to me, overall have the better team. It's just Mahomes. That man is just another.
He's the wild card with no ceiling. You know, like it's crazy to say, and I don't think anybody's ready for like the next Tom Brady. I would love to have a break and some variability to who's winning the Super Bowls and getting the chips, but it's just like we know what he can do. And it's to a degree, you just have to bite the bullet and just limit how often he does that. So it's going to be really interesting. And I should be touching on this. Obviously, a key difference between this Super Bowl team, and I'm so sorry for not bringing it up earlier, Brock Purdy. I think he offers a lot less downside than Garoppolo. We've seen everything that Garoppolo can offer. Okay, man, this guy's going to be a backup for the rest of his life. I think he's had the starting reps. Man, he's got happy feet. And like Purdy has a young confidence that at least allows him to be decisive. Like we have seen errors, but Garoppolo would consistently, like you just see the pocket presence. You see how confident they are with their motions, with the progressions, with the footwork. It really just comes down to the mechanicals, right? And going through your reads, which is obviously less mechanical, more vision, kind of processing speed. But Purdy really has limited those risks. He doesn't turn the ball nearly as over. He has shown that he could get more touchdowns, more big play opportunities. He can run with his legs. Dear Lord, what he did with his legs with the Lions is one of the bigger reasons why we won that game. And you pick up these crucial third downs with your legs for 10 yards? Are you kidding me? Well, if we have that option, man, and that could keep our offense on the field, God better help their defense. All I'm going to say. So he really just needs to be comfortable and secure with the ball. I think Kyle Shanahan is definitely known for coming out into a game being really conservative, giving him some consecutive plays to kind of get some confidence moving down the field. So again, just the pace at which we set at the start, it's going to be really important. And same goes for the Chiefs. It's a momentum game, and things will change at halftime. I almost promise it. So, love Brock Purdy. Have full confidence in him, and I would love to see some big plays through the air or just with his legs that are smaller. I'll choose the latter, honestly. I don't need to see him throwing that rock up 30 yards in the field. Like, keep it within 20, put the ball in the playmaker's hands. I don't think you're a game manager, man. When you're picking up these first downs and actually doing things without your team necessarily having to do it for you, you're not a game manager, man. Like stop taking credit from his performance. Like, look at his metrics, man. He led in so many categories, for whether it's like yards per reception, and I give that to the player of the playmaker, or give the credit to the playmaker, but like, he's just so calm and confident with the ball, and he knows where he's going, and he hits the open man. So, and not to mention, he can't throw the needle too. Scary as hell, but he can do it. He can do it. So, I think it's a really important piece for us, because in the past, our quarterback was always our Trojan horse. It was the thing that fucked us the most.
Yeah, definitely Garoppolo caused a lot of.
Oh yeah, Crapolo. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate him for what he did. He won a lot of games for us, but like, do I want him back? And was I definitely a dissenter in terms of getting him to leave? Yes, 100%. I knew that we had already seen that man's ceiling.
Yeah, it was rough ending for him in SF, but yeah, going just back to
Now
Brayden.
Oakland.
Oh yeah, Oakland. Didn't even last the year.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I think he's a bench warmer now.
Yeah, he's veteran quarterback presence at this point as a backup.
Put some respect on his name. That man knows how to secure the bag. If you're going to the NFL looking for money, you don't have to be pretty. Again, he's pretty. Just do what he did. Okay? That man secured the fucking bag.
Just only play for great teams. Great systems. But yeah, going back to Brock Purdy, I'm with you. Wasn't high on him going into the season, but he's definitely continue every week. Just changed my mind. Like you said, that Lions game really proved to me that he could be an X factor rather than just. I mean, like you said, I think he's growing out of that system quarterback. Those plays with he made his legs were huge in that game. Pretty much, like you said, won you guys that game, kept you in it. So, and as much as I hate to admit it, every time I see Brock Purdy, it's what I was hoping for out of Kenny Pickett. So it hurts.
Yes, sir.
It hurts.
Yeah.
I still believe in him, but we'll see next season. But yeah, Brock Purdy just looking really great. It looks like you guys have a quarterback at least for the foreseeable future. I mean, definitely, it's amazing having him on like less than $1 million contract for your team.
Oh my God. It's more than a miracle, and just to like kind of attest towards like how we got to this point. Jed, John, and Kyle with their draft picks, especially in the later rounds. Like, if you look at our team and the people that are like the all stars, like with the exception of a couple players, like we really are finding some diamonds in the rough. Like, seriously, we're finding these players and they're becoming like these all star caliber pro players. I think like it's credit can be due to the system fit, but it's really just knowing like from Jed, Kyle, and John's perspective of what they want their team to be, and these pieces just fitting really well. Like, I know we've had a couple busts, but like these pieces are fitting really, really well, and we're getting a lot of compensation picks. There's literally, I believe, NFL organizations like the executives, so to speak, are complaining about how many compensation picks we're getting because we're developing coaching talent. Like, we've gotten, I'm pretty sure by far the most compensation picks based off of head coaches or just like pieces moving to other organizations. Like, we are actually a hub for like coaching talent, and that's getting us like these draft picks, and we're finding these diamonds in the roughs. Like, that's how like we've been consistently performing, honestly. So all the credit to them, running it from top down. Man, I didn't know who half these players are when they got drafted, and now I fucking know them.
Yeah, I'm kind of part of that. Literally, I mean, we all know my team had an OC opening, and I was like, just grab someone from the Shanahan tree.
Yeah,
I don't care who it is. It could be QB's coach. Just grab someone who worked under Shanahan, and we'll probably be okay with that.
that tree is massive and growing, man. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, losing a few pieces. I mean, I think a few got fired or this season. I don't have to look.
Yeah. What's his name? Fuck. The guy that he was under Sean McVay, like that, like mini branch.
I think it was McVay.
Yeah, it was McVay's dude. What team, man?
Well,
Well, there is the one LaFleur who is the OC for the Jets. That kind of counts because that is under the tree.
oh yeah.
But that's not the one we're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. But
We'll look at it later after
yeah.
Superbowl day. But I won't take up too much of your time. I mean, you answered a lot of the questions I was gonna go over. So very in depth. But just a few last things. You got a final prediction, score prediction for the game? I know.
I do.
Ooh,
I thought about this big hard. It did. I think it has potential, and my projection is going to be 31-27 us, and we'll see.
game-winning touchdown, game-winning stop. How's the game ended?
I think it's going to be a game-winning stop. I think we're going to be down going into obviously the last drive where we're going to get a touchdown. So just to back up a little bit, we're going to be what? So minus the 7, so 24-27, and we're going to get a touchdown and get a defensive stop.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
I kept it reasonable. I had really not humble opinions on this card for the Packers and the Lions, so
Oh,
I'll go a little bit above the spread, but no, I think it's going to be a close one.
yeah. It should be a good game. I mean, I'm excited for tomorrow. We'll be texting you, even though I don't know how much you'll text back, especially how this game goes. But
I'll be texting back. Don't you worry. And I'll make a bold prediction. Sorry, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have an interception.
ooh,
Yeah, little wild card there. I think it's going to happen.
you want to throw out a name? Who's gonna get that lucky, the
I
infamous interception?
that's kind of cool. Okay, yeah. You want me to name who? Shit. See, this is where it's gonna be hard. I wanted to say, and this is where it's like a stretch because it would be like the stars lining, but I want to say just like a tip pass to Greenlaw. Like he's coming up with 2 interception week. Like it would just be hilarious. I think that we got potential. So I'll just give it to him. Obviously, we have a lot of opportunity for picks, whether it's Trivarius or whether it's Fred Warner, whether it's dude. I believe even one of our defensive linemen can pick it up. Like, no, that's kind of a dream, but I think we got options. I will touch on a little bit. I think Ambry Thomas is really our Achilles heel. He gave up the biggest plays in the Packers game and the Lions game, and they were like consecutive, like big plays. Like they were targeting him. You felt it. We had an injury at that point, so he had to like be in the starting card. He's not going to be in the starting card this time. And Lenore, I think he's kind of slept on, honestly. Obviously, like I'm just high on him because he's on my team. But Lenore being like I'm pretty sure 6th round pick, Ambry Thomas being a 3rd round pick. Like Lenore beat him out off the punch, and he's been a much more consistent player in terms of just being like present, like being on these receivers, at least making them feel he's there. If it's not a pass breakup, I just like and I know Tom's going to be on that field. But that's going to be the one thing I'm going to be concerned about every single time is when I see Thomas on that field lined up with a wide receiver, I know for a fact they're taking a shot at him. So we'll see. We'll see if he can if he could show up this one game, that'd be fucking great. This one game. This one game I'll ask. And I know it's the biggest game, but if he could just get his shit on the rocker, take some fucking electrolytes or whatever the fuck he needs to get his brain right. Like, I think he needs to limit those fucking. He can't be that Achilles heel in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes will eat him. So.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes will look for that matchup. But
Oh,
yeah,
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I'm surprised. I would not have guessed that Lenore was. I mean, not Lenore. What was the name? The
Ambry
linebacker.
Thomas.
I'm surprised that he is the higher draft pick than Lenore. I thought Lenore
Yeah,
was
it came
the.
from Michigan. Came from Michigan, and he was kind of like a bust off the get go. Kind of crazy, but just proves that like I mean the draft is a guessing game. Like you could have all the intangibles and you could have all the on the paper credentials, but I swear to God, it comes into culture fit as well as just work ethic. Like these players got to want it for themselves as much as they want it for the team. You know.
Yeah, yeah. But thank you for your time. I won't take up too much of more. Appreciate you being able to jump on and talk about your Niners. It was great talking
I
to you.
talk about them all the time, so this is no problem.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll just end it with if you got any final takes, shout outs, anything you wanna get off your chest before the big game tomorrow.
I'm gonna say if the Niners win, MVP is Chris McCaffrey. The Chiefs win, we all know who's gonna fucking be. Actually, huh? If the Chiefs win, I think it's gonna be Patrick Mahomes. But this is kind of crazy. So, did you know that there's more money bet on, I believe, Travis Kelsey's scoring a touchdown than on the Niners or maybe a team? Did you see that?
No, but I'm not surprised by it with the whole Swift money.
I will not make this like a hot take, but I really want Travis Kelsey to not get a touchdown just to fucking spite all those fuckers. Like that man carries that team so hard in terms of putting up points. It's going to be a painful experience to see this man score one touchdown. I'll probably cry and die if he scores two, but like he's that one option within the close like within the red zone. Let's just call it them. Like I know within five they're gonna give it a couple runs with Pacheco and Rashi Rice is cool, but like man, our red zone protection this year is so much better than it's been in the past. It's been really great because like we'll give up those plays and get them there, but we're making them take field goals every time, and I know that'll win us games in the playoffs. So not every time, obviously, but we know what the scores were for the past couple of games. But I have a lot more confidence that we're going to keep them out of the end zone. And if you just take away Travis Kelsey, man, if you just take away Travis Kelsey, and like I'm just talking out of the end zone. I know the man's probably going to put up 100 yards, 12 fucking catches. So.
He's Mahomes' number one guy. He's gonna get his looks, but I mean, do you guys do?
I still love him. I love him. He's one of my favorite tight ends. Obviously, like under Kittle, but like he's probably my number two easily.
Yeah, great personality. I love Kelsey. I mean, on and off the
Oh, I
field.
love the podcast
Yeah,
too. The Kelsey brothers are
so
just
good,
like, ugh.
so good. Yeah. So yeah, it should be a great matchup. I mean, you guys do have one of the I would put as him Fred Warner as the best middle linebacker. So you guys have a great guy to cover that. Can't see him shutting him down for sure, but you do know he's gonna have a presence on him. But yeah, should be a great matchup. I mean, just game as a whole. But yeah, that should wrap things up. Once again, JP, thank you for your time. Thank you for your insight on the Niners, getting to know more. But yeah, we'll catch you guys next time on the Gridiron Bangers, and thanks for listening. Shoots.
Bang bang Niner gang.